vision of the project, the provision of the project, and kind of brainstorming about what it will be. Now we'll move to more of the practical way to learn about the cycle of the project management, as well as we'll run a couple of exercises. So it gives you really specific tools, how you can think of your project, and you can already structure it. So as Vani mentioned, by noon you kind of should have a good idea of the projects you would like to work on, and by 2 p.m. you'll be registering them for the competition. So how many of you are ready to compete, huh? Everyone, right? Exactly. Perfect. So I was hoping to introduce you to my amazing co-speakers, Hazel, Melanita, and Lauren. So I will pass it along and they can all say what they are really working on, and then we'll move to the hardcore agenda.
Okay, so my name is Harizal. I am the country representative for the Asian Foundation in Malaysia. I do a lot of development, social development work. My area of specialization is actually war, crisis, very difficult areas of programming. I can share with you if you want to get them, but that's very complex, so you don't have to get them yet. But I'm going to be talking a little bit later, after all the speakers have introduced themselves, about project management. Okay?
Hi, how's everybody? No. I'm Ellen. I'm a social entrepreneur for about 10 years in conflict communities around ASEAN. I am a mentor to a few startups here in Malaysia. I am also the eldest sister of 9 siblings. So when you talk about proposal making, on a daily basis I get this from my brothers and sisters. It's become such a part of my life right now that they know how to position themselves with me. And that includes my startup kids and the communities that I'm involved in. So they usually would, and if you'd like to take this tip, when they propose something, they'd say, why is it important? Why is it hard for me? Why now do they need money from me? And why me?
Good morning, I'm Paul Lawrence Nephew. I come from Uganda, in Africa, Eastern Africa, and I'm based in Laos currently. I'm the technical advisor on environment program for a local NGO in Laos. And my work for the last 12 years has been in the area of environment governance. Especially I'm interested in the area of land use change, environmental degradation, how it relates to conflict, peace and security, and human security. And I've been doing that in Eastern Africa, the Nilo-Saharan countries, and Horn of Africa. And now my interest for the last 1 year has been in the Lower Mekong, especially Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Thailand, and Vietnam. So I'm grateful to be in this workshop with you, and I hope we shall share more. Thank you.
And as I mentioned, I'm Kaka Letsing. I've been kind of involved in education systems for the past 10 years, working on a lot of programs with the Department of State, United States, as well as with many different organizations and corporations from all around the world. I'm originally from Czech Republic and United States, and I live in Switzerland, so it's kind of a huge mix, and I always was wondering if that's possible to be in different places and remote places outside of the United States, and it works, which is all good news for you guys, because you can use all the tools and all the different things that I've been using, and I'm really ready to share that with you as well as my colleagues. So today, we will have Lil to speak about the cycle, and we'll do a little bit of exercise. We really try to focus on in 2 levels today. The first one is kind of, if you don't have many sources, how do you do the project management, and how can you think about it? And then the second one later today, which will be video exercise, and we also build in a way that you can use it as a tool for your project management that you'll be competing on or you're going to work on in the group or even on your own. Then we will have my colleagues to speak about preparing project proposal, the process and tools, the best practices. And then we are going to speak about the business model canvas, which I mentioned. That's one of the tools that I've been using. It has been introduced by Stanford University, and other universities have been implementing that. It's completely all online, so I want to make sure you will need 1 or 2 computers on each table. Do you have that? Yes? If someone does not, please find one of our amazing organizers who can borrow really one of the computers, but it looks like we have an issue with that, so that's pretty great. Beautiful. So if I can ask Rizal maybe to take over for the overview and the exercise. Thank you.
Okay. Look, the best ideas always fail. Trust me. So I don't know why, but that's the situation, right? And I think why the best ideas always fail is because we put so much effort and energy into thinking of this concept of what we want to do, the design itself, that we forget that managing it is a totally separate, complex issue that we need to deal with as well. Okay? A lot of NGOs fail here, exactly here. They have the most brilliant ideas, they cannot roll it out or they cannot sustain it because they don't manage it well. So this is what this session is all about. Now, my colleagues here are going to share with you some very interesting tools that are available to help you do this. Okay? There are a lot of tools out there that's going to help you manage your project. After you design it, manage it. Okay? But I'm going to do something else because sometimes you don't have these tools. Okay? The reality is that you don't always have tools around you. And this is going to be interesting. I'm going to just ask you, right? You look around you on that table. Look around you. You have pencils, you have phones, you have, this guy has a camera, that guy is taking my photo. You have all of this. I want to ask you one thing. Are you using it or is it using you? It's two separate things. Okay? And the problem in the world today is that a lot of people allow themselves to be used by the tools. Now this is what I want to try and change. I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't cheat. Even if you want to eat, put down that muffin, close your eyes. You're going to be able to do that muffin in like 2 seconds. I'm not going to steal that muffin from you. And then let's all just be in silence for like just 5 seconds. Okay. Now, that space that you guys, okay, you can open just, okay, sorry, that space just now, when it was just dark and silent, I don't know how far you went, but that, that is actually where you should begin, with nothing. But I want you to realize that actually, when you close your eyes and when everything was silent, you already have the best tools in the world that God has given you. You have your brain, you have your arms, you have your legs. More importantly, you have your mouth, you can communicate. I only took your hearing and your vision away, right? Okay, so this is the exercise now. We're going to start using those things. We're going to leave all these other tools outside. Okay? I want you to go back and realize what you have in you to start thinking how to manage your project. There will be situations in life when you are only left with this amazing tool that you already have, but often enough you don't know how to use it because you're too used of using assistance being fed into you. Okay? So what am I going to do now? I'm going to tell you one thing. There are 2 things that's extremely important in project management. One, definitely you will need all these tools to help you. That's the, project cycle, accounting, blah, blah, so on and so forth. That you can learn. There's this other thing that no tool in the world can help you, which is essentially understanding your project and how to build it and manage it, without having to put, numbers and accounts and reports and stuff like that. And a lot of people fail this first step, even before that. So, meaning, if you're an accountant, I give you an Excel workbook, it's already available, without even starting to use that Excel book, you need to understand how to use it, what kind of data you want to put in. I want to be at that step. Look around you. your table, look around you. These are the people that you have just discussed about when you design your project. I think you have learned a little bit about them, right? Some people have, they're very assertive. Some people just lay back and say, that's a good idea, I'll follow that, blah, 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 and stuff like that. These are your constituencies. These are the people who are going to support you or bring you down when you manage your project. Even before you use all these tools, okay? You have to first develop constituency among your team members. You have to understand who's your supporter. You have to understand how to engage with the people who probably will not support you. There are ways to that as well. And you have to understand how to, sometimes use these people to get your project moving. Okay? Now, I'm going to end there because we're going to go through a bigger exercise here and we're running a little bit out of time. But I request at the end of all this that you, on a small sheet of paper, and it's going to be very secret, yeah? And I'm not going to see it as well. It's just going to be for you. Write down how you're going to strategize to engage with your group members to support you in terms of, number one, getting your idea forward, and number two, to then use these tools that they are going to introduce to you to manage your project. Any questions? Do you know what I'm saying? No. You? Yes. My point, the points, there's only one point here. If your team members does not support your idea, you cannot use all these tools. You cannot do this alone. You need a team. So even before we introduce you these tools, I want you to understand your constituencies. NGOs fail is not because they do not know these tools exist. These are not dumb people. It's not that they have never been exposed to Excel sheet. It's not that they've never been to school to understand what management is. We keep on telling them, you got to manage this better, you got to manage this better. They come back and they tell me I know how to do it. I've gone through all these exercises. I went to the D school. And still I failed. Only 2% of NGOs actually really achieve what they want to do. Do you know that? Out of all these trillions of money that we spend every year in terms of development work. And the biggest failure is normally to understand their constituency, the people around them. You know what? Because we are activists. We have very strong opinion. If you don't get the support, these tools will mean nothing. Okay? You get the point. So you have to write down on a small piece of paper, keep it a secret, keep it in your bag, how to win your constituency. First, get people to make you a leader. Build that, and then we go into using the tools. Because once you have that power, you can use these tools. Okay? Any other questions? No. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. So now we'll be talking a little bit more about the points and the specifics of the preparing a project, and my colleagues are going to talk about it.
The room's pretty quiet, I'm kind of worried. Yeah, from one person on the other side of the room. Okay, 2 or 3. Alright, so I'm Alice. I'm also an angel investor, so I'm kind of excited about this. I know preparing proposals feels a little technical. What you need to remember is that proposals are your sales pitch. It's not just a technical paper. And that's a way to make it fun. So bringing back what Rahul had mentioned earlier this morning about understanding the point of view of the community or the client or whoever it is that you're trying to address, and leading it into what Harizal mentioned when you close your eyes. but you need to kind of start thinking about the very basics before you plan out and write out all of this cool stuff you're going to do in your proposal is this. You need to first, I might want to write this down. It's like a one-sentence pitch, and then you expand from there, yeah? So my group, insert your name, is developing what is it that you're offering, what your idea is, what your service, your product is, to help a defined audience. So you insert here what community or what issues you want to address to solve the problem, whatever that might be, with your secret sauce. So your secret sauce would be how your program, what's the methodology your program is going to use? What kind of uniqueness does your product or your service have, right? So I'm just going to go there. It's like a one-sentence pitch, and usually you expand from there. Anything that's in this pitch is the core of what it is that you're doing, the soul of your proposal. So, for example, my organization, Social Enterprise Alliance Malaysia, is offering funding for social enterprises who are not sustainable to help underserved communities in Southeast Asia with coaching and developmental learning. So it is my group, your group, is developing whatever programs, products, and services to help the communities that you want to address with whatever that secret sauce might be, your secret sauce. Do we get that so far? Pretty simple. This is going to help you elevator pitch and all the other rest. There's an expanded version of this if you want to use it for your proposal, but what I really want to get into before Laura's go into the steps and cycles of preparing a proposal is that please make this process fun. I mean, Post-its are my best friend. I should have 3M to sponsor me, really. The entire wall of my home and office is pasted with Post-its because you can move those ideas around, you can have fun with them. If it's not fun for you, it's not going to be fun for the investor or the donor to read it. Please remember that especially. Because they're humans too, and what they usually look at when they look at a proposal is they don't look into the content of your proposal. They usually look at what the ending is or what the beginning is. You know how you gauge if you want to watch a movie through the teaser or the preview that gets shown? It's a little bit like that. So investors or donors read your executive summary and that's it. If they're interested, then they'll proceed on to the rest of the proposal. And you always, the greatest tip I can ever give to any entrepreneurs or any activists in preparing a proposal is leave the executive summary to the last. Do not begin with the executive summary. The executive summary of your proposal should be written after you figured out what the hell it is you want to do. Simple enough. Other tips would be avoid buzzwords. So I know you guys tend to go into all of this fluffy sustainable farming, sustainable this and that. To the community that you're trying to help, sustainability only means what does this mean in a version of a long-term impact for me. So think about your community, put the faces of the community or issues that you're trying to help in front of you and figure out what you want to do for them. That helps you to eliminate any buzzwords in your proposal. Answer the questions that you think that both the community or the issues that you're trying to help and the investor or the donor have in their head. List out all of those questions first before you actually write out any form of proposal. And if your proposal answers all of those questions, then you're on a good start. Other tips would be again, coming back to design thinking, a full understanding of what your community needs. If you don't have that, it's going to be really hard for you to prepare a product or a solution for it. Now, if you assume you know what they need, you don't really know what they need. You need to go down, have a chat in Malaysia, have a teh tarik session with them, have drinks, coffee with them, and really understand what the problem is, not what you assume it is. So for example, we think that students don't have motivation or inspiration to learn. That's on the surface. The root of that problem would be, what's their engagement, or how could they apply those knowledge in their daily lives? Do you see the difference between the two? So you need to be able to delve down deep into that, what that problem is, and then come up with that solution. So, like Rahul said, no judgments, no assumptions. Yeah, remember it's not a technical pitch. The proposal is a sales document, and don't get lost in the writing of it. Remember what your one sentence pitch is, and then expand on that. Understanding what your donors are looking for. So later today we'll be talking about fundraising and how could you align your proposals to the donors. If you don't understand what the donors are looking for and you submit one proposal to all types of donors, that's not gonna help you out. That's like crafting out a resume to different types of companies without understanding what kind of skills they want in you, what kind of uniqueness in you that they're looking for. And last but not least, this is my favorite. You fail to pass the so what test. Why should the person reading your proposal care about your proposal? You need to ask yourself that. Every time you say, this is my idea, ask yourself, so what? It's as simple as that. Ask yourself, so what and why should I care? As an investor or as a donor, they're not going to really look into what you're offering if they don't care about the problem that you're trying to address, according to what they have been tasked to do. Every donor, every investor, at the end of the day, needs to be able to show a return on their investment. So if they don't care about that particular proposal, they're not going to lead through it. Any questions so far before I pass on to Lawrence? He's going to walk you through the steps and the cycle of how to prepare a proposal. But those are the rough tips, and then we'll be going around as well to help you out. So Alan, questions? Yes, ma'am.
So, what do you like currently put as return on investment?
What?
Can I ask you please to come closer to the mic here so everyone can hear? Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Mastura. I'm from the Cinema Project. So, on what the donors expect, what does the donors want as a return on investment? Do you play the PT card or do you play the I can give you advertisement card? Normally, what do they expect? Thank you.
It depends on the kind of donor that they are. It ranges from all of the above. I apologize, I don't have a specific answer to that. If, say, you were to approach Harizal, he'd ask you perhaps what is the impact that you would be able to create in your community, instead of caring too much about how much money that goes into it.
Yeah, can I?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a problem when people put microphone on me, I tend to speak. If I can help you, one thing is this is good. You have to understand the donor, but before that, you have to understand yourself as well. What are your strengths, right? You can actually, if you have the strength even to make the donor change their mind, then do it. Because at times, you tell the donor what is important. You plant that idea. You make them realize that, look, you have to spend this amount of money because this. But don't do that if you're not good at it. If you don't think you are good at doing that, then you understand the donor and you approach the donor in a way. So there's so many ways to deal with this actually. You have to understand where you are.
Which is why it's really hard to give you one specific answer. We'll take one more question before we pass on to Lawrence.
Ladies and gentlemen, for me, I think if you are preparing a proposal, you must go to the people. That's point number one. You must go to the people, learn from them, learn what they know, and start from there. And how can you do that? You need to sit with them and develop a problem tree. Problem tree is my second point. You have to develop a problem tree together with the people. what is the problem? What are the primary causes of the problem? What are the root causes of the problem? What are the primary effects of the problem? And what are the secondary or indirect effects of the problem? And what interventions can be done and who can do it and when? When you finish that, you will know what to do, you will know who to do it, and you will know when to do it. Point number one. Point number two, once you know who should do it, when to do it, and how to do it, you need to sit together again and develop a vision. What do you want to see change in that particular community? And that's what all of you are going to do, because you're going to work on various projects. Don't start from your office and go to the people. Go to the people and come back to your office. When you have that vision, vision is what you see. Videos, I see. Vision is what you see. And what you see can be in 3 years, in 5 years. It's what you see change in that community. And you must have strategy for that. How are you going to reach there? First, you must have that vision. How are you going to reach there? And what strategies are you going to use? And then you come to set up your objectives. And remember, for each strategy you may have 2 or 3 objectives. And for each objective, one objective, you may have more activities you have to do. And then you have to put in consideration issues to do with the quantity of the activities, the cost of the activities, and when are you going to do the activities, and who is responsible, as I told you. And so, you must know that preparing a project proposal is the initial document to convert your ideas into action. You have the idea, you have to convert it into action. So in your proposal, you must have outcomes, you must have outputs, you must mention the major risks, you must mention the stakeholders you are going to work with. These stakeholders can be tripartite, can be government, civil society, and private sector. And also don't forget the communities you're working with. You must mention the estimate of key resources you're going to use. And don't forget that time is one of the resources. Apart from money, time is one of the resources. And of course, the other elements you must consider, like the technical background, the recommendation, the results from some feasibility studies you did or surveys. These things must be at your fingertips because they want to know what did you do, what have you done that necessitates that problem must be addressed in that community. And so that information, if you have it, and the whole idea of developing that proposal is to seek the audience to approve and fund or permit the project to be implemented. And there are many types of proposals you're going to write. One can be request for proposals, which can be put in the media or on any website, and then you respond to it. Some can be solicited, they are requested, others can be unsolicited, not requested, but you must convince that person so that the problem exists and needs to be addressed. And what are the key sections in your presentation when you are writing that proposal? Of course, you must have the introductory part, and that introductory part must have motivating statement, must give the overview of the content in your proposal, and must be brief, and must show that the next things which are following are you are writing a proposal to address a particular problem. In the background section, you must give it also, which comes after introduction. You must talk about what brought about the need for the project, because you have already identified the need for the project. What is the problem? What are the opportunities existing in that particular location to address the problem? And what is the basic or the current situation which you want to improve? And of course, the following that, you must talk about the feasibility, as I told you, what you have done to come and say that this is a problem in that particular community. What will be the benefits of the project? What are the arguments in favor of approving the project? And what are the possible success, especially in unsolicited? How can you sell this idea? These things must come clearly in your proposal as you write it. And then, number 4 is the description of work. This is technical background. What will be done? Which activities will be done? What methods are you going to do? What procedure are you going to follow? How will you do the project? These are all questions surrounding that. And this will build confidence in the person who wants to fund your project, that you understand your project. It's a good project. Don't forget, there must be a component of M&E where you're going to, how are you going to monitor this project, and how are you going to evaluate these projects. You must have those indicators clear. And the schedule next, the timeline on which you will deliver the project, you must have that. And also a bit of statement on your qualifications, whether individual or an organization. What are your experiences? It's a kind of mini resume. What are your experiences? Did you implement similar projects before? What are your references? What supportive documents do you have? Maybe you want to address waste management in the Mekong, the water pollution of the Mekong River. Is there any supportive technical document supporting you? What training familiarity with the project? So that is very important. And then the next step is the cost, the resources required. I told you time, and of course you have to do that budget. Somebody will talk about that. And the last part is the conclusion. You must bring the leaders back to the focus that positive aspect, to the positive aspect of the projects. You must bring them back to that. Remind them that the project has benefits to the community and that you are the right choice to do that project. And these are very important in your steps when you're developing these projects. But very important word is that you're not going to follow these steps sometimes as they are. Sometimes the donors give their formats. Sometimes you have to do your own format. So you must always adjust accordingly. And when they give their format, you have to follow that one. And ask what audience need to understand. In the proposal, you must indicate what audience need to understand. And the benefit arising, the roles, and the qualification. I think when you follow some of these tips, you are definitely going, and these steps, you are going to write a convincing statement. Remember one thing, when you do all that thing, you write you prepare your proposal, there are things you must take into mind. One, your proposal must be smarter and based on SWOT analysis. It must be smarter and based on SWOT analysis. I think when I talk of smarter, you understand. Smart, you understand up to time bound, but there is smarter, extendable. The proposal you are writing, if possible, must be replicable. I mean, the activities someone should be able to replicate them in another community. And it should be rewarding, especially those working on it, should be able to have records of it. So that one is very important. And finally, I think this time, the way you write, it must be well proposed, concise, logical and reference, and attractively presented. I think when you do that, it will be very important for the reader to give it a meaning to read your project. Thank you so much. And if there are questions, we shall answer them. But of course, the next session when we're going for the group working shall still guide you on this. Thank you so much.
So before we pass back to Pat Cousin that she can share with you a tool in planning out your proposal, I just want to highlight the difference between output and outcome. Is everyone clear on the differences between those two? Output and outcome. There's a difference between the two. So for example, the outcome of your project or your program would be perhaps a legislation being passed. But the output would be what are the petition or the signatures that you need to get in order to make that outcome happen. So output is more tangible, specific in terms of numbers and all that, more quantitative, and outcome is more the impact that we want to see happen. Cool? Right, yes, good.
Thank you. Beautiful. So now we'll be going to the exciting part of creating your own Canvas business model. And so I have a program question for you. How many of you already have a project in mind? Raise your hand. Whoa, good. So kind of just as a reminder, as we go through the next stages, by noon you already should have a little bit of idea of projects or one project or more, what you will have to do. By 2 p.m. you will have to register the project you will have to pitch on Monday. Okay? Beautiful. So the next thing that I would like to introduce you is the Canvas business model. And I don't know how many of you have done kind of model or proposal or like project model build up. How many of you? Beautiful, few. So I don't know if you have the same experience like me, but my experience from the past is that we'll create this beautiful thing, we'll be really happy about it, but as it goes in today's world, and things go really fast, and things change, and like in next week I wanted to rewrite that whole thing because I felt like, wow, this is not current anymore. How many of you have had the same experience? Good, yes. So I have a great surprise for you, and there's been two kind of managed, and it was introduced by the University of Stanford, and many others are using that, including me. And basically it's this online model that you can choose and move things around, and you can set up deadlines, and you can also share really easily just by one click with others, which will really make your life easier. So I am going to show you a video. And I also want to encourage you, on each of the tables you have handouts, I believe. And so if you can take one of the handouts that has this beautiful, let me just open it, this model. Does everyone have that? Yeah, great. So then I want to encourage, if you can have two people at your table, to go online once we are watching the video, well, not once you're watching the video, just before. So I'll give you a minute to get online. And then I'll ask if we can play the video in future 70 seconds. Beautiful. If you have problem connecting, if you do, can you please raise hand? Everyone is okay? You guys are a perfect group. This is great. What?
We have a question before you start.
Sure. I also wanted to mention, just to save time, that we will, once, like in future 5 minutes, we are going to all work on the concept. Like each of your teams is going to work on this concept, and we'll have approximately 30 minutes. And we'll all be walking around to help you and try to make sure that all pieces are implemented. And if you have questions, we are here to answer it as well. Yes?
Hello, my name is Rita from Spice Group, and I have a question before we go into the business on Canvas. That you're mentioning here like the key participants, and we mentioned partnerships in the previous part, and we would like to ask whether there are any examples or any options to solve the problems that we will have with the like more than one partner. It's like we have many partners, and we have to deal with the conflicts that they may have, like with budget or with the standard of doing things. So especially with the foreign partners and the local partners. So are there any examples or are there any options that you can recommend to solve this problem? Thank you.
So I can also encourage my colleagues to answer. From my perspective and my experience, it was a lot always about transparency and communication. I know that sounds really easy and simple, but it's just so important. When you're building a project, I think it's really important you follow the steps of the basic of the model, but you also introduce that model to your partners. So everyone is on the same page, they understand what you are doing, and so they can also actually work with you on and helping you solving those issues. I don't think you have to feel and say, wow, I have these partners and I have to solve it on my own. No, I think it should be really teamwork to kind of figure out their needs, why they use those models, so you can kind of meet each other and halfway. And who knows, maybe you will even figure out a better concept. In the past, when I was in that issue or that challenge, in the end, we actually developed even new systems or new things that were used in the future, because we really were able to identify for each of us what are the challenges and we would like to solve it. Anybody else would like to answer?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that was what I was leading to in the earlier session. You know, you got to build that constituency. See, the problem is these models will put your ideas in place, but in managing your project, Because it's not just about your ideas. It's about relationships with your partners. It's about your engagement with another human being. And we know that human beings are complex, right? I mean, we are complex. So this is why I want you to go through that little exercise. I just simplified it. Write on a piece of paper your strategy to win your constituency, right? Unfortunately, I do not think there is a model out there, one model to solve or answer your question, because human beings are complex. But you are a human being as well. And I think we human beings are made to deal with the problems that we have. You just have to bring it out and strategize. Okay?
So the model that we are going to introduce, is everyone online now? So I encourage you to go to that link. Okay. And basically, really the model reflects on the business model, so then you can brainstorm and you can see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. There's definitely a systematic way of how to implement it. So on one of the slides, and actually on the template that we provided, there's really a specific way how to use that, and also the basic questions. So it's easier for you, so you don't have to learn all definitions. It's all there for you. So you basically be answering the questions that will lead you to the solutions and to the options that you may have. And one of the other things that I'll be also showing you, because of the technology, so there are two ways. If you don't have a computer and you don't use computer, it's also possible. If you are coming back to your countries and to your communities, and that was not a possibility, you can use these models and use the keys and basically do it in hand. But the online version might be a little bit more advanced on that level, that you can share that easily and you can change that. But both of the ways are definitely feasible. So now if I can ask you to play the video, that will give you an overview of the project.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships established, the revenue streams in general, the key resources and key activities required to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business. It is not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a restructured canvas. This will be called the business model canvas, the tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and prepare new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all people or organizations in which you create value. This includes several users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition, means examples of products and services that create value for your customers. The challenge is trying to reach customers and interact with customers and deliver value. Customer relationships and relationship establishment with customers. Revenue streams indicate how and through which pricing means the business models capture value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. Key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model. Since you won't have more key resources yourself, you can inform more key activities. And once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you also have an idea of its cost structure. So the business model canvas, you can map your entire business into one image. This is also startup entrepreneurs just as much as when you senior executives.
Beautiful. So I think this video is great because it shows the basic concept that you have in front of you, and it's something that we'll be working with for future 30 minutes or so. And only one thing is that when I've been doing these models on my own, I realized that might be a little bit confusing where to start. So I created this overview, and we basically, like when you look at the structure you have in front of you, there is really no kind of what you do first, what you do second, what you do third, which kind of gives you flexibility, but I also want to say that just kind of to have the flow of the project, I will really encourage you to follow the customer segments and the other items. If it is not related to the project, you of course can leave that out. And that's the really beauty of this project because you can use the different stickies and different notes that will still help you to design the model. But I really will encourage you in the sense that this will help you to kind of keep the flow of the model. And then now, I really want to encourage you to go to the next link that's mentioned up there, the Organizer. Because, and for each of your teams, I would really would love to see if you can register. I believe there is a just name of your team that's requested and an email address. So if it can be one of you or if you want to make Genova, then you can basically log in and start your model. So you can see all the different stickies. I would say you can maybe talk as a team and kind of decide which colors you would like to use for, you know, what needs follow-up, what is urgent, what is general idea, what is priority. And so that will kind of help you and will save you some time to prioritize the needs that you want for your model. So I would say all of us are going to walk around just making sure that you're able to log in and to understand the concept. And I'm really going to encourage you to build on for 30 minutes. Are you ready? That was very weak. So let's try one more time. Are you ready? Yeah. Good. Beautiful. So maybe we can take the questions on the tables and then we also summarize them. So it was something that was really important. We'll mention that in, let's say, 25 minutes when we're doing the wrap up. Okay, great. Thank you. And let's